That Dr. Marco?
Yep, that's
Dr.
me.
Mays. Good to see you, man. We got Cole in the house. You're on mute, man. Dr. Alex, good to see you.
Zack.
What's happening, man?
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the holidays here.
I like the background over there.
Thanks, dude. Yeah,
It looks
we got this little disco.
you're in the office?
Oh, man. Yeah, this is just our office. We actually just redid it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can show you a little flip. So we got it's actually pretty sweet. We just got some grounding pads, and then we got this higher dose
that's epic.
PEMF mat, which is epic. So yeah, a couple posters on the walls, and yeah, I love the paint though. They did such a good job. Looks
Yeah, you
beautiful.
did do a really good job. You were just sitting on that PEMF mat, aren't you?
Oh, you know it.
Coming prepared. I love the multitasking. That's awesome.
Exactly. How about you, man? You still in Colombia, or are you back
Right now, I'm in Florida. I'm looking at getting a place over here in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Shopping
Beautiful,
around.
man.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. What part of Florida?
South Florida. Right now I'm in Lake Worth. I'm looking at like West Palm, Miami,
Nice.
and Fort Lauderdale.
Sweet. Yeah, my family used to have a house in West Palm. It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah, West Palm's cool.
Yeah. I talked to Jake the other day. He says hello, by the way.
Hey, he was talking about doing a Colombia trip.
That's amazing. That's our guy. Seemed like you guys had a really good time the first time around.
Such a good time. Yeah, really cool place.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's awesome.
Oh, you guys jumping on. If you could just kick your cameras on. If you want to turn on the mic too and just quickly introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, what kinds of patients you're treating. We're going to be diving in just a couple minutes. I'm just going to wait for a couple more people to jump on. This should be really cool. I see some new faces too. We've been doing one of these just about every week for the last couple weeks and have been getting a really good response. We got Alex over in Denver, right outside of Denver, right?
Yep, we are in Denver. We're a functional medicine clinic called Prime Health. We see a variety of different conditions, but mostly we specialize in thyroid conditions, IBS, a lot outside that too. And we do some IV therapy, some injections, and a lot of community events.
Love it. We got Dr. Mays. I know he's driving over there, but out of Texas.
That's right.
Right? Adding neuropathy to the office. Got some soft wave going, some cool other things. Ingress, where are you based out of? We got Cole over there. All the way up north. Functional medicine office. You guys have regen also, right? I know you guys got a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the functional medical component, but we also do stem cells.
Yep.
And exosomes.
Killer. I see Ingress said Florida. What do you guys focus on in the office, Ingress?
Body contour, body sculpting.
Love it. Okay, cool. What part of Florida?
Lakeland.
Nice. I've got a duck in Lakeland. Do you know Lakeland
it's nice.
Disc Center?
It's nice and quiet and calm.
It's been quiet and calm?
Yeah, Lakeland is laid back, quiet, farm life.
Yep. Good wrestling, I hear.
Yeah.
Dr. Marco in the house.
Hold on, guys.
Welcome. You've got neuropathy, knee joint, and what's the other one? And disc? Weight loss.
For me,
Yes.
the weight loss and the neuropathy.
Weight loss and neuropathy.
Yeah. What better way to
Excellent.
start out the new year, huh?
Yeah. Right on. Dave, where are you based out of?
I'm in South Florida.
South Florida? Is
Yeah.
that Dave Popkin?
Yep. Hey,
Oh,
man.
welcome. Awesome.
How
Good
are
to-
you?
I'm doing excellent. Good to hear
Good,
from
man.
you.
You too.
You guys are focused. I know you guys do neuropathy. You guys also
Yeah,
do disc?
we're doing knee neuropathy, non-surgical, and weight loss.
Killer. Cool. Okay. And I see 402. Who's that jumping on the phone?
That's Chad Miller.
Chad Miller. Welcome, my man.
Thank you.
Excellent. Cool. Neuropathy doc over there. One of the best in the States. All right, I'm gonna kick it off. We might have a couple more people jump on, but we've got a cool discussion today that I'm pretty stoked about. Put a lot of time into putting this together. We've been over the years, I know I've spoken to most of you guys. We've been working with a number of different offices over the years. Building my dad's practice down here in South Florida, and then a lot of other offices. So we're going to be covering today, the exact system we've refined, we're doing for all the offices we're working with, our own office, the 6-step calendar breaking practice growth solution. Literally how to stack your calendar, how to drive more leads than you could possibly imagine. And so I'm just going to kick it off, just really dive right in. I know a lot of you guys kind of know my story, some of the different things I've done. And so really let's just kick it off with what is a lead, right? Simply a level of interest in the form of a name, email, and phone number. Inbound phone call, message, someone basically reaching out, some level of interest, right? Now, the real goal with this is driving engaged leads, right? Someone not who just fills out a form or even has the wrong phone number, but someone who actually then, when we go and text them, when we go and call them, picks up, they respond, they answer back, and they go ahead and move forward with whatever it is, or are engaging in that process. As I go through this, if you guys have any questions, feel free to turn your mic on and just dive right in, or just drop a message in the chat, and I'll be trying to keep an eye on it as well. But now I know a lot of you guys here, in fact, I think all of you guys here are selling some sort of high ticket program. So of course there's different levels to leads, right? We want leads that are actually have the money or can in some way move forward with the programs we're offering. And so I know you've probably experienced, a lot of you guys I know have done various different marketing where you might get leads, you might even get scheduled appointments. And the real value is those actual patients converting, giving you money. So don't get me wrong, a lead is not everything, but when we have a system in place to turn these leads into paying patients, which is kind of this little diagram below, then leads are very valuable. Then when we step up that lead volume and tier that up, we should be driving the rest of the practice growth in accordance. And so here's just a little example of a chart I broke down previously, where we could see our cost per lead. We could see how that affects the number of leads we're getting with here a various different ad spend budget here at the bottom. You'll see in that second to last row, where ultimately the target is 10 closed cases, right? You can see how then when we have these different numbers dialed in, like the booking rate at 35, 30, or 25%, assuming we're screening these patients ahead of time, that's why the booking rates look like this, and are asking even for a prepayment or a credit card on file, the various different bookings, then the show rates, close rates, and all that stuff. So we could see though here, and actually maybe this isn't the best example, But when we add in for this master level or any of these, if we just double the volume of leads and all these metrics stay the same, we're going to be doubling that practice. And that's really what we're focused on for this training. So there's a myriad of different ways to drive leads for your office, right? We can shoot videos all day, blog till we're blue in the face, spin a sign around in front of your office, knock on attorneys' offices, right? Newspaper, SEO, advertising, radio, TV, right? The list goes on. And here's just kind of a number of them that I threw together. For the purpose of this training, I'm going to focus really on what I believe to be the number one source, what we really focus on doing for our clients, what I've just seen to be the fastest, most effective type of growth when there's a proven system in place, right? And so this is really where we focus most of our efforts, especially initially with our clients, right? And this really comes down to online digital advertising, Facebook, Instagram, Google, TikTok, and stuff like that. Now, for this, you just need one channel to hit a 7-figure practice, even a multi-7-figure practice. And as you dial that in and maximize that, you can start adding others. I see a lot of guys jump in, they try and do it all. And you could do that, but it's just a lot more to manage out of the gates, right? And so it will just slow you down, usually is what I've seen, and truly isn't necessary until we're kind of maxing one out. And so we drive, just to kind of show you guys that I'm not full of crap, right? We're actually in the trenches doing this. We drive ballpark 400 to 500 new patients into our roughly 67 offices each month. Roughly 7.5 new cash medical patients, high ticket patients showing up for each office on average. And so here's an example. This is actually a screenshot of the last 3 months, the actual dashboards from our setting team where we're fully managing offices. We've got a whole tier of other offices where they manage their leads in-house, where that's not included here. We just don't get as clear of tracking on those. But you can see here, like November, 408 appointments booked, 245 shown, qualified new patients. We got a 59.8% show rate for that month. You can see it's kind of trended up, where the last 3 months we've been driving anywhere from 200 to 250 new patients with just this service alone. And so when we tie it all together, we're looking at roughly 400 to 500 patients. And so I'm going to dive in and really show you guys how all this works, pull back the entire curtain, really show you exactly how we're doing it. But if you jumped on this call, kind of just want help just implementing this, don't even care to really roll this out, to do this yourself, feel free, go ahead. You could just hit this link. I'll drop it in the chat too. We do this for offices. So you could just go ahead, go to this link, book a call with me, and I'll show you exactly how we could help you do the exact same thing and do it for you. That said, this is what it looks like. So it's a 6-step process that I'm going to really be breaking down for you guys, which all starts with the value ladder. And so the number one, the person who can spend the most to acquire a customer always wins. That's why I love high ticket medical, right? I wouldn't, if you're building a practice where, we're doing $20 adjustments or $50 visits or whatever it is, and we're not selling packages, like it's not my preferred type of practice. But if you're selling a high ticket program and then layering even stuff on the back end where there's maintenance or other treatments or services you're adding where you can cross-sell and upsell and different stuff, I think it's the easiest, fastest, best practice you could possibly build going into 2024 and ongoing. And so if you have the highest case value, largely the highest lifetime patient value, and are willing to spend the most to acquire that new patient, that's how you win, right? And so we're able to basically spend way more money in advertising, dominate our marketing, outcompete everyone else by having a proper system that delivers us patients at a good cost when we're willing to spend more than others, right? And so to be successful with advertising, we largely want some strong bait. And that's what a lot of you guys might be familiar with, the offer to get you in front of patients, get them on the phone, get them in the office. But you can kind of see in this diagram, they come in for the bait, but then we extend them up the ladder, if you will, so we want to basically get as many people as we can in front of us that are a good fit, and then move them up the ladder and move as many up as possible. And so we like to start with a strong front-end offer. A lot of times that's a new patient special, could be a free giveaway, a free video, a free webinar, whatever, and then basically move them up the ladder, or start with the bait, move them up to the new patient special, extend there to possibly your main program or another, semi-larger package, and then back end with maintenance and cross sells, right? Ingress, I know with Contour, a lot of times, it might look like there's some sort of bait, but then there's a little bit of a bigger bait, which is the front end, moves into the middle tier main package, and maybe there's maintenance thereafter or other types of programs, functional medicine, nutrition, or what have you, right? And so all these other programs we want to kind of look somewhat similar. So if you do this right, you will acquire new patients for cheap, make a fortune from them on the back end. And so this is largely what's really important, to have this system to drive floods of more leads to your business. Can I just get yeah, what's up?
So how much, on average, you said the person who spends the most gets the most return, it sounds like. How much would you say on average people are spending on digital advertising? Because I know docs that spend $1,000 a month on their budget, and then I have friends that spend $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Wild West, in South Florida.
Yeah. So the more you spend, the more you get when
Okay.
the campaign is efficiently run, right?
Okay.
The problem occurs when you're spending more money and you're not efficient, the system's not running well, right? But if you have the system in place, the goal is to spend as much money as possible, right? And I had a mentor years ago where I sat down with him. He's like, Zach, what's your cost per acquisition? How much are you spending basically to acquire a customer, right? And the idea is, if you could spend $1 and get 3, right? 1 to 3. I would give someone I would give them as many dollars as I could possibly get.
Oh, no,
you know?
I agree. The ROI of if you're getting an ROI of, anything over 3, you're doing great. So I agree
Exactly.
with you. I just wanted to know if there's a price point, because, how do you judge that? That's all I'm saying.
So we usually suggest minimum 1,500. I usually see if guys
Per niche?
you could split it up. You could split it up, but it gets tougher to optimize the campaigns. So
Okay.
it's preferred to be per niche, 1,500. And because it also goes back to the same thing I was talking about, where it's like, you don't necessarily, you don't need to market 2 niches and even overcomplicate it if you've got one that
Right.
works.
Okay.
So start with 1,500 is usually what we suggest, and then scale it from
Okay.
there. But usually 1,500
Got
is enough where you can get a decent enough volume to start getting an ROI, and then kind of scale it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do see a lot of guys, they come in and they spend too little. It's pretty common. Or they want to grow their practice and they come in spending, $1,000 a month budget, and they're expecting to make like 200 grand, and it's like, yeah, maybe it could happen, but it's like, if you're willing to spend more to acquire that, it's much more feasible, especially in a market that's more competitive, possibly, or just as you're really wanting to scale and capture even more market share.
Okay. Got it.
But so what we like to do, I'll just tee off of that too. What we like to do with our clients is we'll set, what's the target? What's the maximum we're willing to spend to acquire a new patient, right? And then of course we don't want to spend that, but now that we know what we're willing to spend, right, now we can really go ahead and scale. And so now we have something to reach for. And for most offices, it's 3x ROI. So if your case value is say 10K, we're willing to spend usually around $3,300 to acquire a new patient. Sounds like a lot, right? And maybe there's other costs where we might factor them in, if there's equipment or different things. But most offices will not spend that much. And so now when we really want to get 100 patients a month or whatever it is, if you're willing to spend that, it's much easier to do so. Might not need to initially, but as we really scale it up, things usually get a little bit more expensive. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. And then we look at overall profit as opposed to just closing 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple patients a month and getting a massive return on investment on those. If we're far more profitable as a business, then we're doing better. And that's why it kind of goes back to then, to really scale, then keeping this optimized also. This box helps us to do so, helps to keep that cost per acquisition down as we're spending more per lead or whatever else. But that's number one, is the value ladder and having this dialed in, right? And so I see a lot of opportunity with a lot of different practices here. Good, strong bait that gets us cheap leads, a front end that kind of extends them up effectively, a middle tier where we're converting them at a high case value, and a back end where we're retaining them for a long period of time. If that's structured well, and your case value is far higher than most practices, you're going to always do well. Next up, kind of really number two, is the irresistible Godfather offer. So, this is really how to become the Don Vito Corleone, the Godfather, dominating your market, pulling in every patient who needs your help into your ecosystem, ending all competition, getting patients banging down your door, and really scaling your practice to endless profits, right? So you guys probably know, remember the scene, right? I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. And that's really the goal with the initial stage of advertising. And so just to kind of, I know probably a lot of you docs also have been through, maybe even run ads, and it's always, I hear a lot of concern or unease almost about that. And it's just sometimes an aggressive offer, and there's different ways to structure it. But I'll put here too, this isn't based on theory. We've worked pretty closely with Tony Robbins' team over the last year. Tony Robbins says, where he's now has $1 billion net worth, literally is doing $7 billion annually in revenue across his 138 somewhat companies. The fastest way to grow your business is with an irresistible offer, right? And if we look at so many examples, unlimited Prime shipping for $139 per year. That's how Amazon became one of the biggest companies in the world, right? Nordstrom, if you're not satisfied for any reason, we'll take it back without a receipt, no questions asked. You could have this thing used for 3 years, and you bring something back to Nordstrom and they'll just be like, take it back without any questions, right? Remax became one of the biggest. And now if we even look at EXP, what their offer is very similar, but they became one of the biggest real estate companies by literally the 100% solution. They allowed real estate agents to keep 100% of the commissions while just having to pay a monthly subscription. Netflix, unlimited stream movies, I don't know what the exact price was, but roughly $9.99 per month. iTunes literally put out so many of these record stores and all these things. First, it was the iPod, right? Which now made it easier than ever to listen to music, an irresistible offer, but then 99 cents per song, right? And so it's the fastest way you could possibly grow a business when you have this dialed in. It makes selling easier. It makes everything easier. It makes the marketing easier. And so how to establish this really comes down to first listening to your customers, listening to your patients. What do they really want? Make it easy for them to say yes. Make it easy for them to enter your ecosystem, easier than anyone else, more valuable than anyone else. Listen to the concerns, the challenges, the fears that your customers are facing. And so one of the best things I've seen is research. By researching them, reviewing testimonials. You could read the Google reviews of competitive offices. You could watch the video testimonials, right? You could go through forums. There's so many support groups, especially for the conditions we're talking about weight loss, talking about different thyroid and functional medicine patients, neuropathy patients, disc, all that different stuff. There's so many forums on Reddit, on Facebook groups, where people are literally begging for solutions and talking about all the different things they've tried and got no results for, and all the different challenges they're having, how they're struggling to, maybe garden or drive and sit and whatever. And it's like, if we listen to that, we could go ahead and really structure it appropriately. And also just even patients walking into the office, or calling in and just listening to the words and the challenges they're discussing. So recognize their needs and then meet them. And so largely there's 8 key pieces to an irresistible offer. Number one, social proof, right? This could be just, testimonials and stuff like that. Could be the reputation you build from just having a great service, but tying that into the offer is really strong. Risk-free, try it free, an easier way for someone to experience what you're doing prior to purchase, right? Could be a webinar, could be a training, could be so many different things. Reduce their risk, right? So how can you just make it easier for them to start? With that risk reversal, I think one of the best things, and I won't get too deep into this because there's ways to set it up, but especially on a new patient special, I know in Florida even, and Dave, I'm sure and a lot of other states, it's required to put on each of the ads, the patient has 72 hours to whatever the exact verbiage is, like to decline to
The
pay, to get a
disclaimer.
refund to pay. The
Yeah, you have a
disclaimer, right?
disclaimer.
What that
Yes.
ultimately is a money back guarantee for 72 hours, right?
Yeah.
But no
Yeah.
one advertises it that way. No one discusses it. And so just adding even that and just pulling it out in the advertising makes it so much stronger for patients to come in. Because now it's like, if it's $50, but I've got no risk, if you can't help me or if I don't like it or whatever it is, you
Right.
just take a little bit of risk. And it might be $50, but if you make it easier for them to come in, it makes a difference.
Yeah, we have that. We have that on our ads, and no one has ever asked for their money
No,
back.
and no one ever asks. And that's the thing.
Right. That's
So
true.
you put stuff like that and no one ever asks. And then I think one of the most powerful things that I see some offices slowly shifting to is doing similar things for some of these programs. There's steps patients have to follow and different things like that. But if you could land a strong risk reversal even in that, it's really powerful. I know Contour, right, is very common in weight loss programs, lose X pounds, or we'll work for free, or we'll extend your program for free, or the common Contour offer where it might be lose 2 inches guaranteed or your money back, in the first visit. And so really structuring that in is really powerful. Small commitments. So kind of that value ladder, right? If you get them in for something that's really easy to start and get them into your ecosystem, we can kind of then get bigger commitments later. Jackpots. Jackpot is like a buy one, get one free, or, something like that. Do this, get that, whatever it is. Add value to someone else. So contributing to a cause, your mission, it could just be stating why you're doing what you're doing. Could be, just kind of helping these types of patients, alternative healthcare, all those different things. A good one also is, which we talk about a lot is, how the medical model is broken and kind of going against that with these types of programs. And then aligning your product with the identity of your customer, right? So if you could tap into status and identity, it becomes really powerful as well, right? The patients who want more out of life, the people who want more out of life, who aren't willing to accept, the pain and suffering they're going through. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sam Walton's story, but Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, research your competitors like a madman. This is one of the best things. And this could be local competitors, but this could also just be other offices, doing things all over that are doing similar things. So such a madman that Sam Walton literally would be on his hands and knees measuring the distance between shelves in a rival grocery store. He literally was measuring how far apart the shelves were and what products and everything to see how he could shift his space to better accommodate, or fit more products and all these different things. And I'm pretty sure the story might even go he snuck in at night or something when they were closed to do so. But some of the best ways to learn is from your competition, right? As the saying goes, a rising ship rises all tides, or a rising tide rises all ships. So see what's working, model them. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel, right? I don't know if you guys have heard the story, the saying by Picasso: "Good artists copy, great artists steal." And I know that became very popular after Russell Brunson with the .com secrets. I'm going to be sharing also at the end of this how literally if you book a call with me, we'll do a free value call. It's not a sales call or anything like that, but I'll show you literally all the ads, funnels, the offers, the messages, the entire system, the actual ads, everything we're doing completely for free. It's something new we're testing. So by the end of the year, if you book a call, just remind me when you jump on, and I'll share my screen and walk you through everything there as well. So if you want that as well, same link, you can just book a call in the link we dropped in the chat. Just drop in if you could in the calendar form. I'll show you how to do it after value call or value, and I'll know what it is.
Zach,
Yep.
when you do your digital advertising, is it a lead page you guys use, or is it a call-in offer? They call the office or a call center. Any comment on that?
Direct to call before filling out a form.
Well, yeah, well, I've done it with different agencies, and some only do a lead form where the person has to fill it out and you get the lead. And then I've had companies where it's a call only. They must call the number that goes to your office. So, they have to leave a message.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? What works
So-
better? How you guys do it?
Yeah. So, some of advertising, these types of programs is tailoring it to your office. It
Mhm.
depends on the goals, right? Depends on the outcome we're after, right? If we're after
Okay.
like getting a couple patients, you could do call only. But if you're
Okay.
after really building a big practice, you're wasting money. You're leaving money on the table by doing so because you're going to spend more money to acquire that call when some people just want to fill out a form and aren't comfortable calling. But they'll happily give you their information, engage with you through text. Maybe they're busy, don't have time to call. They're scrolling in the middle of the work. They're even in the bathroom, right? And they'll fill out the form happily. They're still in that inquiry phase, but they're not yet ready to book an appointment. And so then if
Okay.
you guys then call them, you'll still get those people, but it might just take a little bit of nurture, a little bit of time, maybe calling them at a different time to get them there. So I suggest lead form first.
Okay.
But if you just like, it depends, like I said, on the goal. A call funnel is easier to manage because you don't have to chase down leads.
Mhm.
But you're gonna spend that money in advertising because you're gonna get fewer calls for what you're spending.
Got it.
Yeah. And then we've been testing a lot of other stuff too. One thing I push is I don't like to have like I think something people do wrong is like keeping things rigid, right? And it's like advertising today will be different than advertising is next year and the year from now and 5 years from now. And it is different now than it was 2 years ago for offices, right? I'm sure South Florida, right? 2 years ago, you could put up an offer, whether it was $49.99, $199, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you were the only office in the area. Didn't really make a difference. Now it's like there's 14,000 different neuropathy offices, 14,000 different offices doing all this other stuff, and it's just gotten a little more competitive. Patients used to show up very easily,
4
right?
years ago, it was piece of cake. Now it's a
Yeah.
lot more challenging.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Patients who booked appointments back then too would always show up, right?
That's
Now
true.
it's like you've got to be a little bit more strategic with how you book those appointments.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
true.
So I think it's important not to keep it rigid. Like we're testing a lot with webinars and stuff for doctors, phone consultations, a lot of other stuff as well, to constantly be iterating, constantly refining, constantly finding the new way.
Okay.
But so one of the next steps when we've got the value ladder in place, we've got an irresistible offer. Ingris, I just saw your message as well. Yes, we do use high level. Highly recommend it. Comes down to how it's built out, but having that automation, the tracking, and all of that is really important, and will help you just get better results from what you're doing. Anatomy of the ad. So I'm going to kind of break down, really what it takes, how it should look, how to maximize the dollars you're spending on ad spend. And so number one is the ad creative, right? Purpose of the creative for medical, for lead gen, is simply to stop the scroll. You're not selling here. You can create videos and stuff that does sell, but most of it's going to happen through the copy. Of course, there could be copy in a video and stuff, but the main purpose of an ad creative is to stop the scroll. And then we want to pull them into the rest of the ad to start reading, rest of the funnel to start reading. And then a service, largely, when we're treating these different conditions, especially their alternatives, most of the ones, in fact, you guys are treating, we're selling an idea. We're selling an idea for treatment alternative to the other things they're doing. An idea that they need to get treatment, right? We're not selling a physical product where you can see a little video of how this thing moves and goes, and you could buy it that way. And so the ad creative, really, we want to stop the scroll. So I've got a little breakdown of an ad here. We've got the text up top. We've got an image. We've got the headline, the caption below, which is like you could adjust the link, the call to action button, and the description. What we're focused on right now is this image. I'm not going to say this image here is a great one. You can see it looks like stock images. It looks like an ad, right? And the text and all. But a 12-week transformation challenge, it could be, a little catchy. And you can see it's certainly calling out a certain type of person, lean and lovely, these women that look like this, or want to look like this, right? So what's real important though with these creatives, what we've seen to drive the best results is when we keep it native, right? I don't want this image to look like an ad, right? I want it to look just like something that our patients will engage with when they're scrolling on their phone on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll go ahead and learn more about, right? So the best ads really just don't look like ads. They look like general content and then pull you in to read more, grab your attention, and then convert it, which I'll kind of talk about in a second, in the copy, right? And so one of the best ways to think about this is, how many of you guys dread going to a car dealership, right? I know besides spending 6-8 hours in the car dealership, unless you buy a Tesla, right? It sucks. These guys want to sell you, they hard sell you, they bend your arm. It's old school sales tactics most of the time. It's just pushy. Like that's the general philosophy there, right? And so when an ad looks like that, it's the exact same way. People don't want to be sold to, so they just scroll past it. So I've some people say, it's not on brand when it looks like it's like a general post or whatever, and I got to have my logo on everything and all this different stuff. But it's like, the truth is, like, what even is brand, right? And it's really just a reputation you have for your business. And if you could drive more people in and then help them, it's like, what more is it? It's not building a bad reputation. It still looks good. It still looks professional, but we're just taking a different approach. So, what's really important is tailoring it to that customer avatar, that patient avatar, the exact specific patient we're trying to attract, right? And so when we create these ads, it should not be based on what you want as the practitioner, what you want to show, right? It should be based on what our patients want, what our patients need, what they want to engage with. And so one of the biggest things I've continued to hear, is fall in love with your customers. We don't want to fall in love with our product. We don't want to fall in love with our business. We want to fall in love with our customers and then adapt accordingly. And so what type of content, just like I was saying, are they going to be frequently engaging with? What are they already seeing on a daily basis? What images align with the condition they're dealing with and would be something that they would recognize and be familiar with? And so that's why x-rays are so big, right? If it's a disc condition. For functional medicine, a thyroid condition, I'm not sure what the specific tests and stuff they're like are called, but like some of those blood work things, some of those different things, disc, an MRI, right? For neuropathy, it could be a thermal scan. And then also if they're local, we could be showing landmarks, right? Of our city, location photos, even a map or different things, condition photos, of course, the feet and all that stuff, or the thyroid in the throat or whatever it is, or weight problems and all that different stuff, right? It will pull them in. What headlines speak to them and their condition? Utilizing this thinking then is what's going to really get you that stop on the scroll. What's really important also is current. We've just had some holiday ads running. Or some Black Friday ads running. We've got some new holiday ads running now. They crush. They do very well. One of the best ways to just bump up your ad performance right now is plug in some stuff that looks like Santa Claus and talks about the new year, right? And so keeping relevant, keeping current is really big. Also, even tying in sometimes to the copy or the creatives, in certain areas where it's snowing, right? Or it's raining, or it's really hot, or even stuff current, like all the wars that are going on, or the bad economy, right? Or all these different things where you could tie that in to make it more current and more relevant, will pull people in. Bonus tip, and here's just a couple of quick examples. Notice, if you're familiar with the word contrast, there's a lot of contrast with these images. They're proven to stop the scroll. They stand out more on the scroll. But here's a little quick images, one with neuropathy, this one on the left. Super, unique, but we've got the thermal scan. I know if I had neuropathy, if I was concerned about my feet, I would definitely stop on a scroll like this. We also got these dots on like certain points, to pay attention to on the foot. This one on the right, we've got this red circle around it, breaking news. It kind of looks like a news article too. Something they might engage a little bit more with. And then says unique neuropathy relief protocol in all bold. Diving into the copy with that, I love to really think about this. It's throat grabbing, right? And so the idea of the copy, the idea of the text, as I was showing here, we like to keep it pretty long in these ads. It's almost like you're reading a 1 to 2 page article, because these patients, a lot of times that we're talking about, when you're speaking to people that have a pain, that have a problem, they're willing to read to figure out how to fix it, right? If you're speaking to the right people. And a lot of times, in some of these different conditions, we're talking about older folks, where a lot of times they're more willing to spend more time on the phone, and to scroll. But throat grabbing, we're grabbing them by the throat and pulling them in. And so the formula we follow, the main one in all copywriting is attention, interest, desire, and action. It's AIDA, AIDA. This is where the selling really takes place, right? And so we literally want to grab them by the throat, convert them to your idea, and then drive them to take action. And I'll be discussing exactly how to do that. And so the idea of this is it should bring them to a place of emotion. It should meet them where they're at and then emphasize the importance of their problem and taking action right now. I see this with offices too. If you guys start paying attention, if you guys don't track this already, pay attention to the patients that engage with your ads, that book an appointment, how quickly they, and those patients that then come in out of the gates. Not only will they show up at a higher rate, of course, if they book in a sooner time period, but they're going to be more emotional because they have gone through the ad content. They've gone through it. It was top of mind. And then when they come in the office, they're already in that emotional place, which is required to buy and purchase a high ticket program. The idea of the copy and anything that moves people to action, especially in this type of selling environment, it's not logic with consumers like this. It's emotion. It's emotion at the most part, backed then by logic to justify moving forward. Right. And so the idea number one of this AIDA, generate attention. What would grab your audience's attention? Create a punchy hook to pull them by the throat into your copy. What things should they be intrigued by or interested in? Start there, and then we'll go deeper and get more specific throughout the rest of the copy, right? And so one thing to pay attention to is on mobile, usually you'll just see this first line of text. And so we want to have a punchy headline, which then goes ahead and pulls them in to read further, knowing that they're already seeing this image, they're already seeing this headline, right? And then we want to get them further, and then we can kind of convert that attention into interest, desire, and ultimately action. And so one of the best ones we just saw with the knee campaign, my team wrote is, did you know the knee has 4 bones in there, or something to that effect? And it's like, it's kind of goofy, to be honest. I read, I was like, that's kind of interesting. But someone with a knee problem, especially when they see the rest of the ad, is like, that's interesting. I didn't know the knee had 4 bones. But then as they read, it's like somehow I forgot exactly how it words it, but then it converts it pretty quickly into the pain we're talking about with a knee problem that's not working. And then it pulls them in to an offer and converts them into the office, and it's crushing. And so like, it's a simple example where it's like, we're grabbing attention, we're speaking to that audience we have. Then we want to create interest, meet them where they're at. Largely that's their pain. Elicit the very thoughts, feelings, and emotions they regularly tell themselves. Elicit them so clearly that it's like you're helping them to recognize the very thoughts they've internally had to themselves. When someone knows that you understand their problem deeper than they do, they know that you can help them. This is probably one of the most pivotal things I've ever heard in copywriting that really just total paradigm shift. When they understand that you know their problem deeper than they do, they know you can help them. And so if you describe it in that way, with the very thoughts that they're having in their head, the very things they're saying, the very fears they have, like someone with weight loss, right? What are their deepest fears, right? It's like going out to a restaurant and not like being uncomfortable ordering certain foods, right? Or like going on, I just heard how Spirit now offers for free 2 seats to someone who's overweight and requires 2 seats. They'll give them the second seat for free, where previously on every other airline, they have to book 2 seats. Someone who's very overweight. And it's like the fear of sitting at a table and not fitting, like actually fitting into the seat and stuff, or like just not fitting into your clothes or looking in that mirror, the dread, the worry, the fear, trying to squeeze into clothes, like all those different things. I know with neuropathy, one is like feeling like a burden on your family and all because you don't have the balance to walk by yourself, right? And so whatever that is, understanding that deeper problem, that problem deeper than they even can speak and voice, right? And so the focus here should be to speak to only one person, not to everyone. If you speak to multiple people, you speak to no one. You speak to everyone, which will capture no one. Speak to one specific person with each ad and each piece of copy and make it so specific to get the best results. You'll some things will land that will be pretty close to that patient, which will then pull them in. And so meet them where they're at. You can bring up the same thoughts they're having, day-to-day challenges they're experiencing, etc. With this, it's a good philosophy to almost kick their bruised knee some. So we're kind of stepping on their pain. We're bringing attention to it. We're expanding that problem a bit, or just recognizing what's going on. And then ultimately, because without pain, without a problem, there can't be a solution. There's no sale. So any questions on any of this so far? Welcome in, Dr. Ken. Good to have you. Ingris, this is just as relevant for mobile body contouring. Love mobile. You guys always have great show rates, because as long as you knock at their door, they're showing up. Create mouth-watering desires. So the thing I like to think about with pain is then we got to create desire, because where the sale happens is with a gap. That's the same way when you're selling to patients in office, but this is this is the separation from where they are now to where they want to be, right? And so they will not take action when there is no gap, right? You must create a gap. When there's a gap, you create urgency. You create motivation for them to take action, right? The pain of the picture, paint the picture of their dream outcome, sell the dream, and provide your irresistible offer. So here's also a great place to add social proof, right? As we start creating desire, create that gap, provide information about yourself or your office, and potentially even some social proof or testimonials. This is the second piece of the ad, or the third piece of the ad. And then we compel them to action. So it's really important, have a strong call to action, push them to the next step, right? Is there an urgency or limited spots? Can you throw in a risk reversal like we were talking about before? Establish the consequences of what will happen if they don't take action, what they will miss out on, how may their condition progress? How can you definitely add more social proof, even in a PS, for added results? I talked about this some of this a little bit before. The idea is not to make this stuff super long. Same with the creative. You don't need a bunch of different elements. The idea is to add as much as necessary to get the point across, right? Here, give me one sec. My computer seems to be. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I think my headphones died. So, and then we also just want to talk at a 3rd, 5th grade level, reading level. Understand, like, a lot of these different patients, we don't need to use super sophisticated words, PhD brain, as I've heard it called sometimes, right? We just need to speak their language. And it's the same way. It's like, what's the education level of our patients? And unless they're super highly sophisticated, all PhDs, right? We want to talk at a lower, easier, more easily understood reading level, so we can kind of meet them all. And so focus more on your audience and what they need and want. I'm going to transition to the funnel. Everything we do with advertising, we drive to a funnel. I don't use lead forms. I don't we never drive to a website, right? If you're driving to a website, especially if you're spending some good money, it's the equivalent of just putting a torch to it. It's not going to convert as well. Same thing with these forms. If you don't know what I'm talking about, on these different platforms, they make it easy to advertise, which is awesome, and it works. You'll get some results. But if you're really starting to spend money or really want to scale, you're just not going to get as good of results. What basically happens is it makes it easy for patients to enter their information, which is good, but you don't always have the right information. If we want more leads, that's one thing, but if we want engaged leads, that's a different thing. right? And similarly, it doesn't allow you to easily direct the next step. Where, Dave, you were kind of asking, our primary method is we'll have them fill out an initial form, name, email, phone number, and then it will direct them to an application and framed as an intake form. They're going to answer 12, 15 questions about their condition, often about their financial situation, different things like that, where then we can drive up the lead quality further, and then direct them to the next step, possibly an order form, a calendar, or what have you.
Let me ask you a question. Does Facebook have an auto-populate form? Because and the reason I'm asking you this, and maybe some other people are interested, is because people fill out a lead form. We're working with a different company, which I'm not happy with. Okay. And these people, we call them back and they say, I never filled out this form.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, if you didn't fill out the form, how'd we get all your information? You know?
Yeah.
So we contacted the company and they say, there's no such feature like that. Have you heard of anything like that?
Yeah, and so it's called sticky contact. On all the platforms, it's by default. There's a way to set up Facebook forms without it, but it's more complicated. I think I've seen one practice with it actually set up that way.
Okay.
Most aren't set up that way. The default way is if you create a form on Facebook, name, email, phone number, it's auto-filled based on all the information they used on the last form or on their computer or phone or wherever. And so the problem is all these patients are like you and I don't know about you, but when I sign up for certain things online, there's a specific email I use and a specific phone number. And often it has one phone number, one number different, or one email different, one letter different, or it's completely different, and I just never check it, right? And so you get a lot of those, and that's the issue. You get a lot of those, or it's just so easy for these patients to fill it out, where it's like they press two buttons, and so then you hear that type of concern.
Got it.
Yeah. And you'll get that still, where in this day and age, I don't know about you, but it's like, what did you eat for dinner 7 days ago? I don't really remember.
Me either.
And so if we have a lead that came in 3, 4, 5, like I've found that to be the sweet spot, 3 to 5 days. Beyond that, you're going to find a lot more people that don't remember, even signing up, filling out the form, because they were unconscious when they were on their phone. So you'll still see some of that, but it reduces it tremendously when they're manually typing it in. And it also ensures you're going to get more of the right information. And then, like I was saying, we could direct thereafter the next step for them to do. And so now we have a higher quality lead. On a Facebook form, they fill out a form, but then they have to press another button to go to another step. And so we see a lot of drop off. On a funnel, we could immediately redirect them to another step. And it seems simple. It seems like a small change, but it makes a big difference, because now it's like, here's the next step to move forward. They've got more momentum for doing so.
Right. Okay.
So some of the best funnels are super simple. The important thing is that there's ad congruency. I see some people create, and that's why a website even isn't good, because you run this ad, but then you send them to this whole big, massive website with 18,000 different things to do. And so they just get lost. And so you don't have to overcomplicate. Like, a lot of times it could be super simple. Here's the offer you saw in the ad, like, fill out the form. But then what happens after is important. You'll see here, this is like an example of one of the pop-ups in our funnel when they press the button on that initial opt-in, where they see where they can fill out their form. Here, this is where there's no sticky contact, where they have to manually type everything in. So we've just seen this get the best results, just like I was saying. And then for consistency, right? If you tie the stuff in that I'm talking about here, this is how you get floods of leads. If you've got an irresistible offer, if your ad is actually good, it speaks to the patient, you will get results. Sometimes things have to be tested, they have to be changed, they have to be iterated, but largely, that's the fundamentals of really driving a lot of volume. Then it's just consistency. And so the consistency simply comes from testing. It comes from, if you're spending 5 hours managing your ads and I'm spending 50, it's like someone's going to get better results just by pure effort, right? And so it really just comes down to if you look inside the ad accounts of the biggest brands versus some of those struggling with advertising, it's just like the gym, one person just put more attention to it. And so the biggest, most successful advertisers simply test more, they test more often, and then they certainly have gotten more skill at doing it and do it better. And they're focused more on getting skilled at it. And so most people simply just don't change it out enough, right? They run the same ad for 4 months and expect the results to continue to work. If you plug in a good ad, it's going to perform, but it's not going to stay forever. And so things slowly dry up to a bare trickle, right? And so we push this in philosophy in our company massively. We call it ABT, always be testing. We're always iterating. And I think testing is a weird word. It's what we use in the marketing space. But I think Alex, have an awesome holiday, man. Appreciate you jumping on. I think testing is a weird word where the word really is iterating. It's improving, it's changing things out, right? And so if you're not growing, you're dying. When you stop innovating, in business, that's basically it. Eventually it's just going to dry up. And so advertising is no different, right? We want to constantly be improving what we're doing and constantly be trying to beat it. And that creates the illusion where it's really of consistency, right? And so consistent results simply come from constant throughput, constantly staying on top of it, constantly changing it out, and putting in the work. They say there's a saying, the grass is greener on the other side. Isn't greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it. So I'm sure you guys are familiar. Any questions? Any other questions on any of this? It's cool with you. I'm going to share with you guys an offer where, like I said, I'll provide all of the ads, funnels, all the stuff that I mentioned that we're actually running for all of our offices. I've basically got two different offers. We manage, like I said, currently right around 67 medical offices, including our own, driving anywhere from 400 to 500 different new patients into our offices. We've managed collectively just shy or right around, I didn't get a chance to double check, but about $9 million now in ad spend. And so we've definitely proven a lot. We've refined a lot of different offers. We're constantly improving, constantly putting the work, and we have the manpower, a team of now 28 doing this to push this stuff out consistently. And so if you do want our help, I'm doing an end of the year special for jumping on this webinar. It'll be a completely wave setup, $950 normally, plus a full satisfaction guarantee or your money back in the first 30 days. No jokes. Literally, you tell me, hey, Zach, this sucked. I'll just give you your money back. And you can keep everything we did for free, all the training and everything. So we dropped a link before. If you're interested in that, just book a call. It's not a hard sell or anything like that. Just have a conversation, kind of see if it's a fit, and then can talk through what that looks like. Similarly, I'm going to be hanging around for the rest of a little bit later tonight too. So if you do want to jump on even immediately, you could send a text, send an email, or just drop a message in the chat too, and I'll reach out. And then my irresistible bonus offer, as I promised, I'm going to be giving away some additional bonuses. If you aren't sure if you want to work with us, or simply know you just want to do this on yourself, it's totally cool. I'm going to be offering this value call, like I mentioned before. So you could book a call also on our website, that same link. Just I'll show you exactly how to do it. Drop this word value call into it so I know. I've got to prepare some of this stuff. So that's just going to give me the urgency to make sure it's done. But basically, I'll be giving you a full behind the scenes breakdown of literally everything. So completely free, the ads, the actual funnels, creatives, copy, the offers we're running, even emails, text, nurture. Heck, I'll show you scripts. I'll show you anything and everything to basically set this up, rock and roll, scale your practice, break your systems, force you to grow literally. So if that is something you're interested in, I'm going to be doing this just till the end of the year. it's something new we're kind of testing. And so jumping on here, if you book that on that link, we don't have to have the call by the end of the year, but if you book on there, you'll lock that in and then lock in if you do want to get started, the wave setup and the satisfaction guarantee. And on top of that, just to kind of prove my point with the irresistible offer, if you text me or mention it on our on the call, or just text in, you could send the word scripts. I'll send you the exact consultation exam report of finding scripts we use for offices to drive literally millions in revenue over the last couple of years. If you jump on and don't text, just remind me there to make sure I send it. But otherwise, just text the word script or email us at wherever we reached out, and we'll get that over to you. So I'll show you guys quickly how to do that, what I was talking about there. While I'm pulling this up, is there any other questions you guys have that I could cover? If you guys got value from this too, I'd love to hear. Maybe just drop a 1 or feel free to jump on if you found this valuable. For this, you're basically just going to fill out this form and it will redirect to a brief application. And then bam, bam, bam. And then you could book on our calendar. And then there you could fill out a form and just put the value word in there. Can you guys tell me, is there anything I covered here? I am looking to, I've been doing a number of these. So if you just write anywhere here, value call, I'll know exactly what it is. And then can make sure to share that with you. For those of you guys still on here though, I would love to just get some feedback. I'm looking for some topics to cover. If you haven't seen any of our previous, my previous webinars, I've done a number of them now and have shared on qualified leads, have also shared on building a neuropathy practice. We shared last week on driving qualified leads. I think we did one other one the previous week. But I would love to hear, like, I don't know if there's anything else you guys are specifically dealing with, challenges you guys are dealing with that I could cover. We'll put something together. Excellent. Cool. I'm looking forward to it, Dave.
Yeah, we've been just to share with other people, we've been doing this a long time. 3-4 years ago, we were killing it with the knee niche. And then we get a lot of inquiries on the knee, but there's so many different options where we are, that's been sort of tough lately because people could go get gel shots, Symvisc, PRP, stem cells, they're, unless they're so desperate, or surgery, that the knee niche has really gone down a lot. Neuropathy's great, but the knee niche has been a real challenge.
Where do you see the biggest challenge with that? Is that when you said you're getting leads?
Will call it, we'll get anywhere from 25 to 50 lead calls a month on the knee.
Okay.
An opt-in, a form, but yet they'll give challenges like, oh, you're too far from me. What is the treatment? And my staff has instructed, you can't tell them the treatment on the phone because I don't even know what the problem is yet. That would be very unethical to go over treatment options and you don't even know what the problem is. So people, it seems like they only want information. Like what is the treatment? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they'd go to an orthopedic surgeon, and they call up and say, what is the treatment you're going to do? I don't even know what's wrong with your knee yet, So
Yeah.
that's the kind of challenges we've been facing. It isn't about insurance, how much it costs. It's about what is the treatment? What are you going to do?
Interesting.
Our offer that we're running is It's an exam, consult exam with a physician, 2 X-rays included, an MRI review, and a first trial treatment for 47.
Mm-hmm.
So the price point isn't, no one complains about the price. It's just they want to know what the treatment's going to be.
So, and
That's, thing.
the bottleneck there, so you're saying is like you guys are struggling to book them for
Yeah,
that.
they
that-
call, they're interested. They're
Yep.
interested, but yet the challenge is getting them into the office.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So cool. That's really helpful.
Yeah, and
There's a
2 years ago, it was like we didn't have enough time to see them. It
yeah.
was so busy.
How many? So if you get 100, what do you say, 116?
We get
Calls?
about anywhere from the knee, we'll get
Yeah.
anywhere from 25 to about 50 leads a month.
So how many book? How
Hey.
many do you guys actually schedule?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's maybe 10%. It's very low,
Yeah, that's pretty low.
very
Okay.
low.
Yeah.
But
And are you
once they
guys,
come in, Zach, once they come in and they meet us and they see we're real and they do the trial treatment and they get off, they do what we do, and they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then they're all excited. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? It sells itself. But getting them through the door has been a challenge. So I don't know if it's a front desk problem, like what they're saying on the phone, or the people, they're getting misinformation. You know what I'm saying? Looking on Google, things like that.
yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, yeah, there's a lot there.
I'll talk to you more about it, but
Yeah. We'll talk about it. The tracking the numbers more will help. So one
Yeah.
thing we track with our setting team is we track the calls, then we track the actual connections, and then the booking rate. So
Okay.
if it's 25 to 50 people, if they're inbound, I'd hope you guys are speaking to all of them. I know sometimes though in some of the offices we work with, like there's a percentage of answers, which is really important to look at.
Right.
And so that'd be number one. Do you guys screen though? Do you guys screen or collect prepayments?
Yeah.
or credit cards?
Well, yeah. What we do is when people call us, we ask them 3 qualifying questions. One is, are you on Medicaid? Okay. No disrespect, but if they're on Medicaid, are they unemployed? Okay. Or are they disabled? Or something like that, because usually if that's involved, then we've had people come in, oh, I have a workers' comp claim. Well, we're not going to get involved with that. You know what I'm saying? So we ask those qualifying questions.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to look at how much you guys are screening out, but then otherwise, yeah, it could definitely be a setting problem,
Hmm.
where you could analyze the calls, the script and all,
Yeah.
and do some coaching. And then similarly, like the ads could be changed, like directing that.
That's what I was thinking too.
And
Yeah,
like those
for sure.
patients, you could be nurturing them, more so. But yeah, a lot of the ads, like, so that to me, like, if you look at what that really is, it's a level of
Mhm.
skepticism. They're coming, they're good
course.
fees because they're interested
Yes.
in a level of where they know what treatments are available. Like they're at a level of solution focused, not just problem.
Exactly.
Like they already have done their research, so they're very hot. But they're not warm for you. They're not trusting
Right.
you. They're skeptical.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, they're skeptical. They're like, they don't know, they don't know who the hell we are. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where a lot of content comes in. And even like conversation and stuff over the phone and stuff.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. We could go through that. If you want to bring your script to the call too, what you guys have for the phone scripts, we could look at that too.
Okay. Cool.
I can give you some feedback.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. I got your message, David. Looking forward to that. And Ingress. Do you guys have any final questions? I appreciate you guys all for jumping on here, hanging out with me on this this Thursday evening before we get into the holidays. I hope you guys found a lot of value from this as well. There's no final questions. I'm going to close this out. Feel free, like I said, text in, email in if you have questions or want the offer there or the scripts. Definitely check out. I've got on YouTube a couple other trainings as well. If you just look up Zack Siegel. Hope you guys have an awesome evening. Happy holidays, and I will speak to you guys soon. Ken, it's great to see you, man. Take care, Cole. David, we'll talk tomorrow.